high. We need to...
And we're back here on Perspectives. Darren Jaime with you. Our guest in studio is Relentless Aaron, who's a relentless author making a difference in the world of literary form, and his books are really out there on the streets, literally, and not just on the streets, but in major market stores. And we were sharing a little bit about his story. Incarcerated for 7 years. During the process of his incarceration, he takes the time out to pen books. His first book comes out, and after he writes his first book, 50 copies are sold where? On 125th Street?
Yeah, I had 50 copies. I sold them on 125th during the course of a day. I went back and reprinted, and I sold 300 more over the course of a weekend. And at the same time, the vision, I saw that how fast they were going. I went and printed 20,000. And when the truck pulls up to your place of business, 18-wheeler with 20,000 books, you have a problem.
Because you're a little worried about that.
A little problem. I mean, it's a little, you know, you're shaking your head, scratching your head. I mean, what am I going to do with these books? You can't just go out with a backpack or a car and sell these books. It's not going to work that way. So I learned the distribution process, and I learned about the sharing the wealth. I looked at it as sharing the wealth as opposed to those bookstores taking a piece of my profit, that type of thing, or those vendors on the streets. You see the vendors on the streets. Basically, they buy the books from the wholesalers, and the wholesalers buy the books from us or me as the publisher. And so I had to learn that process. I learned the hard way because I was a rebel. I was shay, so to speak, and I was going against the grain. I just didn't want to. I knew that I worked hard and sweated and long hours over these books, and I didn't want to give up any lion's share of the work. So the 60-40 thing, I got to understand it, because when you give 60, you discount the book 60% for the wholesaler, and then they discount the books 40% to the retailer. And then the retailer has some play in there to whether they discount them or sell them at retail to the consumer. So I had to understand that process, and in understanding that, I've put some bread on people's tables, and so I look at it a different way now, and also I look at it as an exposure thing, because obviously more people are going to know about my books if they're on tables and if they're in stores or on websites, instead of just me selling them out of my backpack. So I learned the distribution process. I took advantage of it. I grew within it, and now it's off and running.
When you come out with the first book, you say you sold 50 copies the first day. Nobody's heard of you. Nobody knows you. You got a nice book. You got a nice cover. What do you sell the people on?
Oh, how everybody asks me that. Listen, let me tell you something. You spend 7 years in prison.
You learn something.
It's almost like deep sea diving. And I came up for air, and just, you know, honestly, people do not buy just my books. They buy me. When you turn to the Oprah show, you don't buy her program. You buy Oprah. And I understood that. I studied that also in prison. I studied the branding of the world and how things are branded. And I've branded this product, this service, to a degree that people understand now. They're getting it. Before it was like Relentless. What's that? What book is that?
Well, now we're seeing who exactly you are, because you just saw just a few seconds ago the backdrop for Time magazine, where they did a story on you, basically let them know the same thing that you're telling people now.
We're at the curve. I'm at the curve of publishing. Desktop publishing has changed a lot of things. It's enabled the average person to go ahead and do a newsletter, to go ahead and do a newspaper, a magazine, and a book. But the whole thing is that the thicker that it gets, the more relevant it's got to be. And so the magazines almost have a shelf life of a month or maybe a week or 2 months, but a book has a shelf life, I realized, of forever. And so what I had to do was I had to write books that were meaningful, that had staying power, and the major media has recognized it. One person says something to another, word of mouth is really, really powerful. I didn't know that until really what's going on here. Because one person will tell another one person will look at the book cover and they'll say, well, oh, I don't read that type of stuff. But another person might be reading it, a friend of theirs, and they'll say, wait a minute, this brother's deep. You need to really get in this book.
Get past the cover.
Could save your life, you know what I mean? So what I've done is I've buried underneath the entertainment awareness. And I feel our young people don't like to be preached to. I feel we get enough of that. And what I've done is I basically buried inside of my characters important lessons and stories that are going to change lives. And that's what I do in my books.
How much pressure do you feel when, okay, you come out with a book, it hits, you come out with the next one, it hits. Is there ever a wonder in your mind of, okay, maybe this one isn't going to do too well?
No. Not at all. I can't even lie to you.
At all?
I can't even lie to you. Right now, I'm ready to do a handwritten book for people that love my work. I'm ready to do a handwritten book. Pac, they got a book by Tupac. You've seen it's handwritten. I mean, there's nothing right now. Nothing stops me. I mean, nothing. And you know, it's the readers that have really empowered me. Honestly, to be honest with you, there's no way that I could do all of this if the first book wasn't good.
Right.
You might put 2 or 3 books out, and the fourth book might be a bomb. But there's no way you're gonna have 15 books published in like 18 months if it wasn't good. People keep demanding more of me, and the books have already been written. So I figured, why not? Let them have it, you know? And so I'm giving of myself. I feel like I'm giving of myself. And so it's more than just a I'm not nervous by any means. I was in prison with killers and bank robbers and gun runners for 7 years. What is there to be nervous about, you know, dropping a book? This is like, I could do this in my sleep.
Let's do a little rewind. Drop me the names of some of the authors that you talked about a little bit earlier that were inspirations to you, that you read and to get your...
Actually, the one author that was a huge inspiration to me was Guy Johnson. That's Maya Angelou's son. I appreciated where he came from. He didn't write a hood book. He wrote a book that the hood probably won't ever pick up because it's really not designed for the hood, but it's so hood. And what I did was I dissected authors like Patterson and Grisham and Sheldon and Donald Westlake and Elmore Leonard. I dissected them. Why? Because all of those authors have films from their books. All of those authors have dozens and dozens and dozens of books. So I sat there and I dissected them, and I figured, wait a minute, this is a joke. This is how it's done. And I realized that they're all using the same strategy. So I took that. I took my experiences. You know, I've been in the Marine Corps. I've been in entertainment. My dad owned the Topless Club. I've been involved in real estate. I've been involved in high finance. Just so much education comes with my experience that I had so much to say. And I mean, I'm not a one-hit wonder. I just still have more books to put out. It's crammed in my head, ready for me to spit out in book form so that people can soak me in, you know?
And that's why I asked the previous question with an intention in mind, because when you look at a person like a King or a Grisham, a Sheldon, even a Guy Johnson, when you look at them and you look at the amount of books that they publish, they're not publishing the same amount of books within the same kind of time span as you are. You're kicking them out just, you know, one after the other, after the other, after the other. Something that most people don't do. What got you into saying, okay, let me just keep spitting them out right after one behind the other, let me put some, and not let me put a whole lot of time in between each book?
It's the supply and the demand, and that's what that's what's the big shift today in publishing. And I'm pushing the threshold. I'm pushing the envelope. I'm challenging a Patterson. Go ahead, put me in a hotel room next to you, and see who comes out with a book in 2 weeks. You and me, you know.
And but here's the thing: Stephen King has success, admittedly, right? But yet, and still, with Stephen King's success, he knows that he doesn't have to really push one out. Also, because the next time I come out, I know that people are going to read my stuff.
They were first movers in a world that didn't have desktop publishing. Remember, those cats had books when they were typesetting books. They were doing books years ago when we didn't understand PageMaker and Corel and things and softwares like, you know, Quark and We didn't have the PDF Adobe Acrobat and Reader. We didn't know how to make PDF files. I mean, things that the printer needs from an author like me to take my ideas from mind to matter. We didn't have access to. We all have access to that now as it relates to the internet, as it relates to desktop publishing. Technology is there. You can learn it, you can get access to it, and you can do what I did. I did it, you can too. That's the book. So all those cats were first movers, and they I don't know if it was the complexion. I don't know why they got their books published before people like us. I'm not going to even venture to take a guess why. But right now, there's no excuse.
So do you feel like you're the source of a new paradigm shift? Oh,
there's no question. There's no question. I challenge any author to do what I've done and to catch me. I don't question. I'm so focused right now. I mean, like I said, you could put me in a hotel room by a best-selling author, and 2 weeks later, I'll have a book, and it'll be on the market. I could put it on the market 2 weeks later, you know, where they may have to wait for a publisher to put it out in 6 months. I'll put it out 2 weeks and get a buzz on it and sell the book to a major publisher within record time.
Well, we're almost out of time, but I do want to say this, though. You're managed by Violator Management now?
Violator.
Right.
That's you know, Busta Rhymes, Missy, 50 Cent.
DMX.
Yeah, in a minute I'm going to be saying
So tell us once again, where can we find you at in the near future?
You know, relentlessaaron.com is my website. It has you know, pictures with all my readers on it, but also it has access to purchase the books. It has my phone number. I'm accessible. I'm as accessible as being on the corner at Hunts Point and Bruckner, you know, in the morning. So I'm out there. You can't miss me. I'm at the plays. I'm at the concerts. I'm doing my thing.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing with you. And I'll tell you what I said privately. I'll say it publicly. This brother's an inspiration to a lot of people. Let them know that, you know, it doesn't matter where you come from. It matters where you're going. And the fact that you're able to take things and transcend them and really make it into not just money, but literally make a difference within the community, there's a lot to be said for you. So keep up the good work. Bring us back here. Come back to us here at Perspectives, and we'll continue to share all the good stuff.
No question.
All righty. RelentlessAaron.com if you want to check it out.
That's
Thanks
it.
again. That's the website where you can check it out. Don't forget Time Magazine. He's out there in Time Magazine as well. Beautiful article written out on him there. That about wraps it up for us here on Perspectives. Be sure to stay with us as we continue to bring you exciting people every Tuesday night live at 8:30 right here. I'm Darren Jaime for our producer Tamika Dorman and the rest of the staff here on Perspectives. Thanks for watching.